let's talk about Wizard Rod and what a stain it is on the Beyblade X format that was pretty good before its release with a lot of variety. So, a lot of the time, people say that Wizard Rod should be kept legal because it's not it's not unbeatable and it has counters. And its counters are basically attack based. Except the main problem is that attack isn't really consistent. Now, with Beyblade X, its attack was given like the handicap of the rails in order to redirect its attacks. Unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't follow the rails. Sometimes it just like skips or like just doesn't hit the center or whatnot. Sometimes it'll just keep riding the rails, waste stamina, and land no effective hit. And what makes it even worse is that even if you have a rail, sometimes you just won't crit. You just won't have that attack with high recoil, and or even if you do get the high recoil, sometimes you'll hit Wizard Rod at the wrong angle and you hit it into the back wall where there are no pockets, because one side of the stadium has pockets, but the other three sides don't. And it honestly makes it feel awful because, hey, you needed a crit to pocket it. Another thing is attack is inherently risky. Attack, it almost always moves. You're gonna run flat, you're gonna run rush, maybe point sometimes, and gear point if you're based like me, also tapered, because you want to have the best of a chance to actually KO Wizard Rod. You basically want to hard launch, and hard launching means you might accidentally pocket yourself, or yeah, you'll hit the rail, you miss, and you land in the pocket, and you just, instead of losing 1 point due to a spin finish, you lose like 2 or 3 points to Wizard Rod. And it just feels awful because it's almost always guaranteed to win 1 point, if it doesn't get knocked out. But if you lose like 2 3 points, it feels incredibly, incredibly awful. Now, another thing with attack is that yeah, attack attack layers will wear down. You could see that my drawn buster has a lot of wear. You'll see that my Phoenix Wing has a lot of wear. Like, geez, can you see like the difference? Hold on, it's a little hard to see. Like on here, you see like this thing's been worn out, but on the mint one, it's not. Yeah, and so countering Phoenix Wing, Rod really requires you to have almost always mint attackers. Now, another thing that people say that what's it called, Wizard Rod should stay in the meta is that Phoenix Wing wasn't really banned in the meta, even though it was an extremely dominant attacker. And honestly, that's fine. Because if you think about it, Phoenix Wing is an attack type. Would you watch a Phoenix Wing mirror or would you watch a Wizard Rod mirror? Because if you look at a Wizard Rod mirror, a traditional like built Wizard Rod is almost always going to be built one or two ways with hexa and ball. You usually just throw in 960 to reduce 960 to reduce the to reduce the chance of bursting, and it's really freaking boring because that's the only way you build Wizard Rod. Riveting.
He coming in. Eventually. Oh.
Was that on tapered ball?
Yeah. It's on taper. Oh wow. Yeah. Taper boy.
Okay, definitely not ball.
It doesn't work against other wizards also.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like anti-attack.
Work against like similar wizard.
It won't work against everything else.
Yeah, because it's anti-attack. So
Saw that.
how do you build Phoenix Wing? You could literally build Phoenix Wing however you want. A lot of people run point, but it's possible for you to run tapered as a mix-up. It's possible for you to run rush. I like to run gear point because Lamau. You have flats. I've seen some people run ball-based tips, but I don't know. And that gives a lot of variety in the Phoenix Wing that you want to run. Do you want one that's a bit more stationary? Do you want one that has more stamina? Do you want one that has more attack? Stuff like that. And everyone like basically uses their Phoenix Wing in a completely a different way. I mean, everyone almost always uses 960 point, but I don't do that. I don't know. But the thing with the Phoenix Wing meta was that you had a lot and a lot and a lot of options that people would run. You know, like where was the Viper Tails? Where was the Hell Scythe Chain? Oops. Night Shields Lance Unicorn Sting before the oh shit, before the what's it called Wizard Rod. Like before Wizard Rod, everyone had a lot of options to choose. You could actually run defense because Phoenix Wing was in the meta, and but like you didn't really have that much heavy stamina types other than Hell's Scythe, because which made defense really still an interesting choice to pick. And even though Hell's Scythe was the best stamina option in the game, it had the highest stamina, it had the downside of having a lot of recoil sometimes. Sometimes you'll just like because the what's it called this side like this part is like sharp, and I don't know if you can see it, but you can see like how there's some wear on the edges of the contact points right here because it's also pretty sharp, and it can have recoil. Sometimes you'll just like you'll just knock yourself out from a recoil from Hell's Scythe. I keep forgetting its name, from Hell's Scythe, and sometimes it can just knock itself out. Sometimes it'll just tank. Sometimes it'll just like one hit and it'll just like go crazy. Or you could use it as like a semi-attacker, semi-stamina combo, and that was interesting. You don't get any of this. You don't get any of this in the Wizard Rod format. The Wizard Rod format is almost always gonna be Wizard Rod. Phoenix Wing, Drawn Buster maybe. Where's Shark Edge if no one has access, if you don't have access to Drawn Buster, because everything else is really, it cannot compete with Wizard Rod. The stamina types that used to exist, or like defense hybrids, don't exist anymore because they've all been phased out by Wizard Rod. Because like if the moment you enter top 8 into a World Beyblade organization, if your deck isn't good against Wizard Rod, your opponent will almost always choose Wizard Rod. Because what are you gonna do against it if you don't have a good attacker? They can just out stamina you, and it has so much stamina that it really just renders everything obsolete. Anti-attack used to exist because Phoenix Wing. I used to run a lot of Wizard. Sorry, not a Unicorn Sting. I was about to say Wizard Rod, but I used to run a lot of Unicorn Sting in my format. Sorry, in my decks, which was pretty fun because I really liked it. You know, but now none of that really exists anymore, and it's just the same thing over and over, and that's what I see with like top 8. Everyone runs basically just this. Everyone just runs a mixture of this. Sometimes maybe they'll run Tyranno Beat and like or they'll choose to just have all attack, but still, and even having it like, oh, it's an all attack format like is good. It's not because attack is good right now. I mean, attack is good, but it's because running attack is necessitated. Again, no one's able to run their favorite comps. No one's able to run goofy setups just because this piece of garbage exists. And even worse, you run it in one way only. You run it with 960 or ball or hexa, depending on what you want to prioritize. Do you want to prioritize raw stamina? You run ball, but you come at a disadvantage of what's it called, of bursting easier. Hexa has the advantage of being able to resist bursting, but you sit at the center of the stadium at a sitting duck, and you almost always kind of lose to ball based bits like orb, normal ball, etc., etc. But again, I did mention that with Phoenix Wing, you had so many options of running whatever you want. Everyone can customize their Phoenix Wing based on what they wanted it to be, and that was fun. That was cool. To end things off with Wizard Rod, it should be banned because of the amount of damage it does to the meta. The amount of variety we used to have before Wizard Rod is just gone. Everyone's forced to run attack because it's necessitated by Wizard Rod, otherwise they lose. Wizard Rod becomes a check of, do you have the attack power to knock it out? If you don't have the attack power, do you have the stamina to rival it? And in the cases of other bays that were used for stamina, they can't really, they can't compete. So they just get phased out. And it's not even fun to watch a Wizard Rod mirror or even watch like Wizard Rod in a battle. It's just, oh wow, stamina. You just launch and that's it. Especially in the mirror, but like a Phoenix Wing mirror. A Wing mirror has recoil, it has variety, and it also has randomness. Is it again? You'll face numerous Phoenix Wings because some people choose a Wizard Rod that they want to run. It's not like they run only one version of Phoenix Wing. Wizard Rod, you only run one way. And it's like, it's the only thing it does. You only play it one way, and that's it.
Cleric stands nothing to gun wizard. Nothing to gun wizard. This one wins. That's mine.